श्री एडवाणी, आप after Shri Advani. No, it is already, Mr. Speaker has already written and kept it. And if you...
After Advani.
Yeah.
ऐसा नहीं, मेरा आपके 7 लोग बोले हैं, यहाँ 4 लोग बोले हैं, आपके 7 लोग बोले उधर से।
श्री एडवाणी जी, आप
4 लोग बोले वाले, ये चौथे हैं अडवाणी। इसी को हमारे ऊपर
सभापति जी, 1947 में भारत स्वतंत्र हुआ और तब से लेकर के मुझे 4-5 ऐसे अवसरों का स्मरण होता है जब देश में बहुत प्रसन्नता हुई, लेकिन प्राय सभी अवसरों पर जब देश में प्रसन्नता हुई और सर्वसाधारण भारतीय गर्व का अनुभव करने लगा, तो विश्व भर में हमारी बड़ी तीखी आलोचना हुई। मुझे स्मरण आता है कि जब 1948 में हैदराबाद भारत के साथ विलय करने को तैयार नहीं था और उस समय वहाँ पर कार्यवाही करनी पड़ी और जिसके परिणाम स्वरूप हैदराबाद को भारत के साथ विलय करने के लिए विवश होना पड़ा, तो जो लोग विश्व में हमारे मित्र माने जाते थे, ऐसे व्यक्तियों ने भी बड़ी हमारी आलोचना की। वही चीज़ गोवा का जब मुक्ति संग्राम हुआ और गोवा मुक्त हुआ, तब भी वैसा ही हुआ। यहाँ तक कि एडलाई स्टीवेंसन, जो वैसे भारत के परम मित्र थे व्यक्तिगत रूप से, उन्होंने इतनी तीखी आलोचना हमारी राष्ट्र संघ में की और यूनाइटेड नेशन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में हमारे खिलाफ बाकायदा प्रस्ताव रखा गया और वो प्रस्ताव पारित भी हो जाता पश्चिमी राष्ट्रों के समर्थन से, अगर सोवियत रूस उसको वीटो न करता। इसीलिए जब इसकी बात होती है ना कि विश्व में हमारी आलोचना हो रही है, तो उसको कसौटी नहीं मानना चाहिए, उसका उल्लेख कम से कम यहाँ पर करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। हाँ, उसका जितना कुछ ध्यान रखना है वो रखना चाहिए। भारत कभी भी अंतर्राष्ट्रीय अभिमत के बारे में उदासीन नहीं हो सकता, कभी नहीं हो सकता, लेकिन उसका अर्थ नहीं है कि वह निर्णायक बने, निर्णायक नहीं बन सकता। मुझे याद है कि पोखरण में जब पहला अणु विस्फोट हुआ था, उस समय भी काफी आलोचना हुई थी, लेकिन देश के भीतर, ये 1974 की बात है, मैं उस समय भारतीय जनसंघ का अध्यक्ष था और अध्यक्ष के नाते मैंने जो बात कही एक लेख के रूप में, वक्तव्य के रूप में, उसको मैं थोड़ा सा ही उद्धृत करूंगा। मैंने कहा कि द गवर्नमेंट्स अनाउंसमेंट दैट इंडिया हैज सक्सेसफुली कैरिड आउट an underground nuclear explosion has been hailed with hallelujahs from all sides. Indeed, only twice in recent years has one witnessed such a mood of national elation. First, when the Indian Army entered Dhaka to liberate Bangladesh, and now when India has virtually entered the nuclear club. मैं इस बात का स्मरण इसलिए कर रहा हूं कि सचमुच कल बहस सुनते हुए मुझे थोड़ा सा अफसोस हो रहा था। इस बात का अफसोस हो रहा था कि जब कुछ देशों ने हमारी आलोचना की, समझ में आता है, लेकिन नॉन अलाइंड मूवमेंट के जो राष्ट्र हैं, उनके सम्मेलन में जो प्रस्ताव पारित हुआ वो वस्तुतः भारत के इस अणु विस्फोट का समर्थन था, चाहे भारत का नाम नहीं लिया गया। और ऐसी स्थिति में हमारे बहुत प्रमुख सहयोगी और जो साधारणतः हर एक मामले का सही विश्लेषण करते हैं और विश्लेषण सही भी न करते हो तो भी पूरी तरह ऑफ द ट्रैक न हो, उनके पहले पहले रिएक्शंस प्राय पॉजिटिव थे, कोई ऐसी बात मुझे नहीं दिखी। लेकिन कल जब मैं सुनने लगा तो बड़ा आश्चर्य हुआ और इसीलिए मुझे लगा कि मैंने प्रधानमंत्री से अनुमति मांगी कि मैं भी कुछ बोलूं। साधारणतः यह विषय ऐसा है कि जिस विषय को बहुत विस्तार से प्रधानमंत्री जी ने अपने आरंभिक वक्तव्य में रखा, प्रतिरक्षा मंत्री जो इस विषय से सीधे तौर पर जुड़े हुए हैं वे भी बोले, और क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री विदेश विभाग का भी कार्य संभालते हैं इसीलिए विदेश विभाग का कोई और अलग मंत्री नहीं है, तो वो जब विस्तार से इस बहस का उत्तर देंगे तो मुझे विश्वास है कि सब पहलू जितने हैं उन पर प्रकाश हो जाएगा। लेकिन मैं मानता हूं कि कल यहां पर एक बात को चुनौती दी गई और वो प्रमुख लोगों के द्वारा कि जब भारत सरकार कहती है कि हमने यह निर्णय देश के सुरक्षा की दृष्टि से किया है, तो बहुत प्रमुख लोगों ने कहा कि सुरक्षा किससे, सुरक्षा को संकट कहां से है? कोई संकट हमको तो दिखाई नहीं देता और कोई संकट है भी नहीं, और फिर भी सुरक्षा की बात करते हैं। ये सुरक्षा कहां से आ गया? आप कह देते हैं कि हमारे घोषणा पत्र में लिखा हुआ है इसीलिए हम कर रहे हैं, ठीक है चलता। लेकिन जब आप संकट की बात कर रहे हैं, सुरक्षा की बात कर रहे हैं, तो हमको समझाइए कि ये सुरक्षा कहां से, संकट कहां से है और ये कब संकट पैदा हुआ है, कैसे ये सुरक्षा की बात आई है। कांग्रेस की ओर से नटवर सिंह जी बोले, विदेश मंत्रालय के साथ वर्षों तक जुड़े हुए हैं और उनको माना जाए कि एक विदेश क्षेत्र के विशेषज्ञ है तो भी कोई गलत नहीं होगा। यद्यपि वो प्रतिरक्षा क्षेत्र के विशेषज्ञ है या नहीं है मुझे नहीं पता था, लेकिन उन्होंने जब कल मुझे बताया कि प्रोएक्टिव का अर्थ क्या होता है विदेशी प्रतिरक्षा के भाषा में, तो मुझे आश्चर्य हुआ और इसीलिए आज मुझे डिफेंस एक्सपर्ट्स के पास जाना पड़ा कि मैंने अगर प्रोएक्टिव शब्द कहा है तो उसका क्या अर्थ ये होता है कि जो नटवर सिंह जी मुझे बता रहे हैं उन्होंने कहा बिल्कुल नहीं होता है। आपको बताएंगे कि क्या होता है, उन्होंने अपने ढंग से बताया कि क्या होता है, उस पर मैं आऊंगा। लेकिन कल नटवर सिंह जी ने आरंभ में ही कहा कि वी आर इंटाइटल्ड टू नो फ्रॉम द ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर when did this threat begin? Did it begin on the 19th of March when he took over, or did it begin on the 8th of April when he gave the green signal to his scientists? Have the Pakistanis mounted an exercise which threatened the city of Amritsar? Mark the words, every word is important. Have the Pakistanis mounted an exercise which threatened the city of Amritsar? And later on, he goes on to say, for 25 years, since 1971, there has been no security threat to India, meaning from Pakistan. The Simla Agreement has ensured that there is no conflict with Pakistan. Frankly, I cannot agree with this kind of analysis of the situation. And in fact, it is a total disagreement with this analysis that has made the government of India take the decision that it has taken. Sir, I do not know, because subsequently something similar was said by Chidambaram ji also. Let me quote that also, it would be in place. Chidambaram ji said, also questioning the same security concept, said that the last war with Pakistan was fought 27 years ago. And then he described how Honorable the former Prime Minister Shri Indrajit in his negotiations with Nawaz Sharif and President Clinton saw to it that so far as relations with Pakistan are concerned, they move towards normalcy. I would not like to comment on the puerile tactic that he indulged in about the Vajpayee doctrine and the Advani doctrine. because that is very favorable, very fit copy for many journalists trying to drive a wedge between the two. I would not expect Chidambaram ji to do that. Sir, I certainly would like to state, proceeding again from Natwar Singh's own speech, because he said that Vajpayee ji mentioned Nehru ji, Vajpayee ji mentioned Mrs. Gandhi, but he perhaps did not mention Rajiv Gandhi. Perhaps it was understood, something like that. And he quoted Rajiv Gandhi, who had made a very fervent appeal for nuclear disarmament, and said that it did not succeed for different reasons. Rajiv Gandhi said that all nuclear weapons should be abolished by 2010. And Gorbachev came out with a proposal, if I remember correctly, that the nuclear weapons should be abolished by 2005. But then Soviet Union disintegrated, etc., etc. I do not know why Mr. Natwar Singh or Mr. Chidambaram conveniently disregarded the fact that in 1991, just before the elections, and the election campaign was fought by the Congress under the leadership of Shri Rajiv Gandhi, and the Congress party came forth with a manifesto. And what did that manifesto say? The manifesto took cognizance of the threat that this government has taken cognizance of, and said, this is the manifesto of 1991, prepared under the aegis of Rajiv Gandhi. On page 54, the manifesto says, we are deeply concerned that Pakistan is developing nuclear weapons. It is hoped that they will desist from this disastrous path. They have already inflicted 4 wars upon India. In case Pakistan persists in the development and deployment of nuclear weapons, India will be constrained to review her policy to meet the threat. I'm sure that ordinarily in all documents of this kind, Chidambaram ji also has a role. I do not know if he had no role in drafting the 91 manifesto, but this is what I read. And having read this, I was really surprised. I said, this is the manifesto of the Congress party.
We still say, we had been saying that we keep the options open. We have never said negative. We had always said nuclear option. But we had been also saying weaponizing would damage our foreign policy. This also we had been saying.
Mr. Advani,
Pardon?
I'm very glad you read it. What's wrong with it?
I don't say anything wrong with it.
Well, that's all right.
I don't see anything wrong with it. I see that there is a threat perception, which you tried to deny this government and said,
Please.
That's the point.
Perception.
Now,
Do better than that. It's rather feeble.
right. You have done as badly as you can. I'll try to do better. Sir, this is so far as the security environment is concerned. I said I would have ordinarily not intervened in this debate and confined it to this intervention by the defense minister and then the final reply by the prime minister. Insofar as relations with other countries are concerned, and insofar as external security is concerned, it is the concern either of the external affairs minister or of the defense minister. But I do believe that insofar as relations with Pakistan are concerned, they impinge not only on our external security, but as well as on our internal security. And as a person who has been entrusted with the responsibility of looking after internal security, I feel that I can contribute something to this debate. I believe that since 1947, Pakistan, which declared itself a theocratic state, has failed to reconcile with the fact that India has declared itself a non-denominational secular state. Because commitment to theocracy, commitment to the two-nation theory, logically leads to Kashmir becoming part of Pakistan. But it did not happen. The leadership of Kashmir, the people of Kashmir, decided to go along with India. And they have remained part of the country since then. Pakistan's failure to reconcile with this fact has been at the root of many problems the country is facing in Jammu and Kashmir. And for that purpose, 47 war was there, 65 war was there. In a way, even the 71 war was related to that. But having failed in all the wars, they adopted a certain strategy which those concerned with India's security can never afford to disregard and ignore. It cannot be. Only those who disregard it can think in terms of making statements of this kind. Are they mounting an attack on Amritsar? Are they doing this? After all, they had very good talks with us. And the Gujarat doctrine was functioning very well. If you want to throw it overboard, throw it overboard. But why do you talk about threat perceptions? There are no threats at all. It's been hunky-dory all along. It is only that kind of thinking that shows that we are totally oblivious, or we shut our eyes, ostrich-like, to the fact that after the 71 war, Pakistan decided upon a different strategy. And that strategy, if any one of us has read the speech by President Zia in that meeting of army officials, in which he spelled out what he meant by Operation Topak. He spelled out an Operation Topak. Topak is supposed to be a guerrilla warfare hero of South America. And he undertook guerrilla warfare against the Spaniards who ruled some of those states there. And in his name, this Operation Topak was conceived. What are the elements of this operation? Operation Topak had 3 stages, overlapping stages. Number 1, raising the level of anti-India feelings among the people of Kashmir. Number 2, creating militancy and projecting it as a homegrown Islamic uprising. And number 3, bringing about a state of collapse in urban as well as rural areas, with Srinagar as the center of gravity for political and religious mobilization. Now, sir, he himself said, I quote President Zia at that conference, in the past, we have opted for ham-handed military operations, and therefore we failed. We must keep our military options for the last moment as a coup de grace, if and when necessary. This is what President Zia has told his army officials when he unraveled this Operation Topak. We cannot afford to ignore that. And we cannot afford to ignore what further happened. Because shortly after 71, Pakistan went in the direction of becoming a nuclear power itself. And I believe that Pakistan's strategy vis-a-vis Jammu Kashmir has been two-pronged. On the one hand, to pursue this Operation Topak. And number 2, the second prong, become a nuclear weapons power. And if you become a nuclear weapons power, then what happens? Now, here I have a document produced by the US House of Representatives, Washington. And this document has been prepared by the Congress's Task Force on Terrorism and Unconventional Warfare. an article, or rather the main author of this is Joseph Bodansky. Bodansky is the director of this task force on terrorism and unconventional warfare. And he says that ISI's support for the Islamist insurgency and terrorism in Kashmir is a direct product of Pakistan's grand strategy. And this is the grand strategy. This document says, in mid-February 1995, a foreign ministry spokesman warned, of Pakistan warned, quote, if India carries out another aggression and war breaks out between Pakistan and India, it would not be a war of 1,000 years or even 1,000 hours, but only a few minutes. And India should not be oblivious to the potential devastation. The 1,000-year war is a reference to Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's statement of the extent of Pakistan's commitment to a struggle within India. Other Pakistani officials were quick to clarify the statement. They stressed that the statement, quote, warned India, not by implication, but in clear terms, that the next war will only last a few seconds and will bring inconceivable destruction and devastation. This clearly indicates that the Pakistani government has bravely displayed its nuclear capability, unquote. The officials added, quote, Pakistan is really in a position to strike a heavy blow against India through its nuclear capability, unquote. Mr. Shiv Shankar is not there. I wish he were there. This may be bravado. This may be thinking. He's there. This may be thinking in terms of an imaginary misadventure. I was surprised that he used the word bravado against Vajpayee and his government. He used the word misadventure against Vajpayee when even the NAM conference felt that there was no bravado. This is only a kind of a protest against nuclear apartheid sought to be imposed on India by the nuclear weapons countries. It was supposed to be a natural thing that India had to do when it was thinking of its own security. It is something that has been endorsed by millions in the country. You go to any part of the country, you go to the villages, you go to the towns, you go to the cities, except for the dissonant voice that was heard in this house yesterday, there will be very few dissonant voices. It will be the same kind of elation and joy. In fact, people from abroad kept ringing me again and again that for the first time we feel proud that we are there. Till now, no one takes notice of it. I entirely agree when our Indrajit said that bomb by itself cannot provide security. I agree. Vietnam did not have a bomb. America had a bomb. And yet Vietnam withstood their onslaughts for years on end. You have to create that kind of patriotism and self-pride. It is occasions like this which instill that self-pride and create patriotism. But when everything is presented to them, now there will be sanctions, now there will be a burden that will come upon you. How will you be able to face it? You have no delivery system, you have no everything to match that. You will have to pay for 40,000 crores to the army and the armed forces. Are you trying to instill patriotism? Are you trying to build up the morale of the people? What kind of contribution are we going to make? I would have no objection to legitimate criticism, but to say that there is no threat at all, everything is hunky-dory, I'm sorry, I cannot agree with it. This government cannot agree with it. And this government has not kept anyone in the dark. From day one, we said that we will do it. We talked of a nuclear deterrent. For anyone to argue, how can there be a nuclear weapon for defense? We never used the word defense really. We simply said that we have no aggressive intentions for anyone. But deterrence is something which has been the principal reason why, even though many powers in the world have had nuclear arsenals which could destroy the world many times, even then after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, no one has used them. One reason is deterrence. One reason is that. One reason. That's not the only reason. I entirely appreciate. And therefore, this government's policy is not confined to simply going in for a nuclear explosion and on that basis thinking that we are secure.
Deterrent. I did not want to comment, but I want to read from Prime Minister's statement. I was surprised by this phrase. Paragraph 10, Prime Minister's statement says, quote, "We do not intend to use these weapons for aggression or for mounting threats against any country. These are weapons of self-defense." Unquote.
Yes,
I
yes.
wanted to
Yes,
know
Master.
what you meant by a nuclear weapon for self-defense. That is what I asked yesterday.
This is precisely what I have explained. Deterrence is self-defense. After all, when a country has a nuclear power, has a nuclear weapon, it uses that weapon even for diplomatic coercion. It has used it in the past. Countries have been doing it. And we would not like to be subject to that. And it is in this context that the Prime Minister used the word defense. It is for us, similarly, because you have mentioned this, I would like to say that conscious of what was happening in Kashmir, conscious particularly of the fact that in the last couple of months or 3 months, the militants and their mentors abroad across the line have decided upon a new strategy in Jammu and Kashmir. Earlier, the focus was on the valley. Attack people in the valley. Kill people in the valley so that the minorities in the valley, the Hindus, exit the valley, quit the valley. And having succeeded in that design, they turned their attention elsewhere and decided that let us go to the Jammu region of Jammu and Kashmir state and from there try to drive out the minorities. Immediately after getting the report about Udhampur, I personally went there, visited those hamlets, saw the kind of massacre that had taken place in which 26 persons were killed in cold blood, men, women and children. Not one of them shot with a bullet, but every one of them cut into pieces. And the purpose was very clear, to see that all these people belonging to the Hindu community migrate from there. And gradually, not only the Kashmir Valley, but this adjoining adjunct part of Jammu province, namely Udhampur district, Rajouri district, Poonch district, Doda district, they are also cleansed, ethnically cleansed according to the militants. And so immediately, as a person connected with internal security, we decided to convene a high-level meeting. And in that meeting, I'm happy to say that all people concerned attended. The governor of Jammu and Kashmir, the chief minister of Jammu and Kashmir, the chief of the army staff, the prime minister's secretariat representatives, government of India, the defense minister, and all of us today came to the conclusion that one of the shortcomings in our approach to militancy in Jammu Kashmir has been till now that we have been reacting to what they do. So we said, let us try to evolve a policy which is not reactive, which is proactive. In case of Udhampur, I said that after these incidents have occurred, we have arrested a few people. Why did we not flush out these terrorists beforehand? And we should have flushed them out beforehand and saved these citizens from this kind of massacre. That is the context in which I use the word proactive. In fact, when at the press conference, some of them said, does proactive means hot pursuit, chasing the enemy across the line of control? I said, no, proactive means simply proactive, that we do not react. we should take preemptive action. And now I am told by my own friends here in the Lok Sabha that what you have said is highly objectionable. In terms of defense glossary, what you have meant is that our army will go right across the border and go and attack the enemies there. In the other house today, some member mentioned that Indian army has already done that.
अडवाणी जी, जो आपने कह दिया कि पाकिस्तान की पॉलिसी कंसंट्रेशन सिर्फ कश्मीर में रहा है, आपको याद होगा डोडा डिस्ट्रिक्ट में पिछले 2 साल से 3 साल से जहां हिंदू और मुस्लिम बौद्ध दोनों रहते हैं, वहां गाँव जाके उन्होंने ऐसा काम शुरू किया। और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की पॉलिसी और हमारी सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस की पूरी कोशिश रही है कि डोडा में वो बिल्कुल नाकाम हुए, क्योंकि जो स्ट्रेटजी आप इवाल्व करना चाहते हैं, जो फोर्सेस, जो ऑफिसर्स, जो सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस डील सिचुएशन कर रहे हैं, उन्होंने डोडा में बिल्कुल सिचुएशन को कंट्रोल किया। तो इट इज़ नॉट करेक्ट टू से कि उनका फोकस सिर्फ कश्मीर था और अब वो जम्मू में आने लगे, वो बात सही नहीं है, क्योंकि डोडा डिस्ट्रिक्ट को उन्होंने मेन कंसंट्रेट किया वहाँ वादी के बाद, लेकिन वहाँ डोडा में हमारे सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस पूरा सिचुएशन को कंट्रोल करने में कामयाब हुए। तो इसलिए कोई नई पॉलिसी की जरूरत नहीं थी।
नहीं, मैं
जहाँ तक मुफ्ती साहब ने जो बात कही है, हकीकत में कश्मीर वैली से हिंदुओं को खाली करवाने के बाद उनका ऑपरेशन डोडा डिस्ट्रिक्ट पर था, लेकिन डोडा के अंदर डोडा के लोगों ने मिलकर के और वहाँ पर उनको इस कदर रजिस्ट किया है, ख़ास करके जो वहाँ पर हमने इनसे कहा कि भाई वहाँ पर बाकायदा डिफेंस कमेटीज़ बननी चाहिए। वो डिफेंस कमेटीज़ बनी, हालांकि उन डिफेंस कमेटीज़ को जिस तरह की सहूलतें मिलनी चाहिए थी बिल्कुल नहीं मिली, लेकिन इसके बावजूद भी जबकि पुलिस के 18 थाने खाली हो चुके थे, जहाँ जहाँ मिलिटेंट्स ने पुलिस के ऊपर हमला किया वो खाली उनको हथियार दे करके भाग गए, वहाँ पर लोगों ने उनको रजिस्ट किया। ये बिल्कुल हकीकत है जो अडवाणी जी ने कही है कि आज इलेक्शन के बाद उनका ध्यान पूरे का पूरा जो है वो जम्मू रीजन के ऊपर है। और ये जो पिछले दिनों में जो 26 लोग मारे गए और उसके साथ साथ जितने भी इंसिडेंट्स हुए हैं, वो राजौरी और पुंछ पिछले 9 वर्षों में एक भी इंसिडेंट वहाँ पर नहीं हुआ था, लेकिन आज राजौरी और पुंछ जो है वो पूरी तरह से मिलिटेंट्स का अड्डा बना हुआ है। तो मेरा ये कहना है कि भाई सारा इस समय उनका थ्रस्ट जो है वो जम्मू रीजन के ऊपर है।
वेल, मैं चमनलाल जी को भी कहना चाहूँगा कि ये सोचना कि कश्मीर वैली बिल्कुल मुक्त हो गया है संकट से, ऐसा नहीं है। और वो उनको तो जैसा सूट करेगा वैसा वो करते रहेंगे। हमको सावधानी दोनों जगह पर बरतनी है, कश्मीर घाटी में भी और जम्मू रीजन में भी। और मैं तो आगे कहूँगा कि उनके ऑपरेशन टोपैक का लक्ष्य भले जम्मू कश्मीर हो, लेकिन कुल मिलाकर के पाकिस्तान ने जब एक अणुशक्ति बनने का निर्णय किया तो हमारी चिंता अणुशक्ति बनते हुए पूरी सुरक्षा की है और विश्व भर में अपना योग्य स्थान पाने की है। और साथ साथ विश्व भर में जो न्यूक्लियर अपार्थाइड की पॉलिसी कुछ देश चला रहे हैं उनके प्रति विरोध प्रकट करने की है। वहाँ पाकिस्तान न्यूक्लियर पॉलिसी हैज बीन इंडिया स्पेसिफिक, डायरेक्टेड टुवर्ड्स इंडिया एंड दैट टू जम्मू एंड कश्मीर स्पेसिफिक। इसमें हमको भ्रम नहीं होना चाहिए, गलती नहीं होनी चाहिए। और जहां तक युद्ध का सवाल है, 3 युद्ध हुए हैं, 4 युद्ध हुए हैं जिनका जिक्र किया कई लोगों ने। उन युद्धों में 1947-48 में 2000 लोग मरे थे, 1965 में 3800 लोग मरे थे, 71 में 4600 लोग मरे थे, लगभग 10,000 लोग मरे हैं। लेकिन कश्मीर अकेले में शायद 18,000 लोग मरे इस सारे प्रॉक्सी वॉर में। और उसके बाद भी हम कहें कि कहां प्रॉक्सी वॉर है, प्रॉक्सी वॉर की बात करने वाले दे आर हॉक्स, दिस हॉकिश स्टेटमेंट। आई विश टू से नो, आई हैव हर्ड दिस क्रिटिसिज्म। अभी कल ही के भाषण में निकाल करके बता सकता हूं, जब वाजपेयी जी को कहते हैं कि ये आपकी पॉलिसी नहीं है, ये तो अडवाणी का डॉक्ट्रिन है। अपार्ट फ्रॉम द अदर ऑब्जेक्टिव विच सम अदर्स मे हैव, इन दिस केस I would give all credit to Vajpayee ji that he executed this entire program in a manner in which it ought to have been executed. I do not know, but you say that he gave the clearance to the scientists on the 8th of April. You say that. May have been reported in the press. I would not even ask him, but I do know that even the Raksha Mantri or myself or those who came to know of us came to know only when I felt that it was necessary for him to communicate. And approximately at the same time, he was looking even for Sharad Pawar to communicate to him that this is a government decision. And so that I would say that he has conducted this entire exercise in an exemplary manner, in a manner in which the Prime Minister of the country ought to have done it. And it is therefore that today we can be proud of the fact कि हिंदुस्तान में इतना बड़ा काम हुआ और कोई बिकाऊ आदमी नहीं निकला। पोखरण में चाहे हमारी सेना में हो, चाहे वैज्ञानिकों में हो, चाहे इंजीनियर्स में हो, कोई बिकाऊ आदमी नहीं निकला। हमको ऐसा नहीं हुआ कि जो हमको जांच करनी पड़े कि कैसे पता लग गया लोगों को। अब जांच उनको करनी पड़ती है कि हमको कैसे पता नहीं लगा। ये सारी चीजें इतने गर्व की हैं, जिस गर्व की बातों पर मैं समझता हूं कि हर एक को प्रसन्नता होनी चाहिए और हर एक को वाजपेयी जी की सरकार को बहुत बहुत साधुवाद देना चाहिए। हाँ, आपके सवाल जो है उन सवालों के बारे में जरूर ये सरकार सोचेगी कि आगे के बारे में क्या है। प्रतिरक्षा का मंत्रालय सोचेगा आगे के बारे में क्या है। लेकिन मैं कह सकता हूं कि आज जहां देश के जन जन में इसके कारण उल्लास है, वहां सेना में, वहां वैज्ञानिकों में, मुझे बताया गया कि कुछ वैज्ञानिकों की सूची है कि जिसमें लोगों ने कुछ आलोचना की है, लेकिन कई लोगों ने मुझे उसमें नाम बताए, विज्ञान का दूर का भी संबंध नहीं, कई नाम बताए। हो सकता है, मैं नहीं जानता हूं, लेकिन कोई वैज्ञानिक है तो मतभेद रख सकता है, उसमें कोई दिक्कत की बात नहीं, मतभेद रखना अच्छी बात है। लेकिन बेसिकली मैं समझता हूं कि आज जो काम भारत सरकार ने किया है वो जन जन की इच्छा की पूर्ति की है और साथ साथ देश की सुरक्षा को ध्यान में रख करके उन्होंने एक सही निर्णय किया है, जिसके लिए मैं उन्हें साधुवाद देता हूं।
श्री सोमनाथ चटर्जी।
One point, if I may just get some clarification. The Home Minister's entire speech, as far as I could understand it, was aimed at showing that the main threat to our security is coming from Pakistan. Yes. The whole thing has been analyzed on the basis of a threat from Pakistan, whereas the defense minister has been shouting against China all the time, that the whole threat has come from China. This is why I had said the government should learn not to speak in different voices, but if possible in one voice.
Mr. Chairman, sir, the intervention of the Home Minister in this debate, and he chose to do so because Pakistan, according to him, is such a threat that it was essential to have this explosion.
Insofar as Pakistan is concerned, it impinges not only on external security but also on internal security. I have not made any comment on foreign policy or defense in general.